Listen, I've never reacted to a movie before. This was so bad that now on Mischief Entertainment, we're reacting to movies now. Not just Marvel movies. We're gonna react to all movies, good movies, bad movies. The only movies that's gonna be safe is that movies that's in the middle, probably. They got commercials for fast food chains showing the Red Hulk throwing tables and stuff. It was the exact same in the movie. It killed the movie. I felt like I seen the last 20 minutes of the movie just because I've seen the advertisements from commercials. Guys, if we killed Batman versus Superman for this, what do we have to say about Captain America Brave New World? And welcome back to Mischief Entertainment, man. As you can see on the screen, we are reacting to Captain America Brave New World review by IGN, man. Listen. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I felt like this movie was so bad that I decided to actually react to it. Now, this is a couple of weeks after it came out. I think probably a lot of major stuff surrounding this stuff has came out. But again, I watched this video for the first time yesterday. And in my opinion, this movie was just so bad on like a movie platform. And then it was also so bad as far as like a Marvel fan looking at it that I had no choice but to pop up here today and start like a whole new segment here on Mischief Entertainment today, which is probably going to be movie reviews. I have never reacted to a movie ever, but this movie was so bad. Listen, after watching this movie, I felt like it was a waste of time. Okay, I felt like it was a waste of time. Now y'all should know I am a Marvel super fan, so a lot of the way I look at this is through that lens of being a Marvel super fan. I felt like these were like, you know how they got A-list celebrities and B-list celebrities? This was C-list heroes. This was C-list villains. This was a C-level plot. I watched this movie and I felt like it was a waste of time. Listen, and it wasn't like super horrible bad, but this is supposed to be what kicks off phase 4 or phase 5, whatever phase we supposed to be on. Listen, I'm one of those people who feel like Marvel fell off, okay? In the very start, I feel like it was great. They and I tell people this a lot about Marvel. In the beginning, those movies had to hit. I feel like the urgency in the building was different. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we're all the way at whatever phase this is, and it's kind of hard for Marvel not to be a super billion-dollar company, and every time they put out movies, they make money. So there's not like this sense of, oh, if this next movie doesn't work, then we could go bankrupt, or there might not be another superhero movie for the next 10 years. Like, that's not going to happen, even if they release a bad movie. So it's different. But to conclude my point, basically, this movie was horrible. And there is a little bit more I want to say about specific things that happened in this movie. There's more I want to say about specific things that's happened in the Marvel universe. But I am going to let this review play out a little bit longer. As y'all can see from this intro, I'm serious, man. Listen, I've never reacted to a movie before. This was so bad that now on Mischief Entertainment, we're reacting to movies now. Not just Marvel movies. We're going to react to all movies, good movies, bad movies. The only movies that's going to be safe is that movies that's in the middle, probably. But anything that's great or bad, listen, I might pop up and talk about it now. Thanks to Captain America Brave New World. That's how bad this movie was, man. Let's get to the review. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Let's see what IGN got to say about it.
Sam Wilson has had a hell of a decade. In the last 10 years, we've seen the veteran counselor marked as a fugitive, imprisoned on the raft, snapped out of existence, passed over as the new Captain America against Steve Rogers' wishes, and worst of all, bested by Ant-Man in single combat. That he's still willing to put it all on the line after all of that is what makes Sam such a compelling, solid hero, and what makes Captain America Brave New World feel disappointingly afraid to venture out into the unknown by comparison.
That didn't work. Watch this.
Brave New World has an incredibly difficult task right out of the gate, getting us up to speed on a franchise that now encompasses more than 40 movies and TV shows. The law of diminishing returns suggests that it's never been less likely that the average audience member will be able to recall, say, the events of 2008's The Incredible Hulk, let alone 2021's Eternals, at a moment's notice. A title like Brave New World suggests that maybe, just maybe, Anthony Mackie's first solo outing behind the shield could forge ahead into unexplored territory. But almost immediately, newscasts and archival video resurface largely unconnected MCU events with a previously on level of subtlety. You can almost see the Marvel brass crossing their fingers in the hopes that this recap is enough to substitute for the affection we may or may not have for movies that are 10 plus years old at this point. Building a news story out of mostly old parts is nothing new in Hollywood, and certainly not for Marvel Studios, but Brave New World feels especially craven in how it pecks around the events of the sacred timeline for structure. With its political thriller pitch, Brave New World nakedly evokes 2014's The Winter Soldier with a mess of ulterior motives, double agents, brainwashing, and of course, a secret military outpost with a villain's lair in the basement. Take that home, throw in a dead Celestial in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and a potato.
Baby, you got a stew going.
But like with Carl Weathers' recipe, you shouldn't be expecting anything too flavorful from those leftovers. With familiar drama driving Brave New World forward, and fewer comedic aspirations than your Guardians or your Deadpools and your Wolverines, the predictably conceived action is even more of a letdown. His way around a pair of jet wings like nobody else, and we've seen that vibranium shield ricochet off of countless tactical helmets at this point. Most of Brave New World's action feels hesitant to push too far outside of that comfort zone, with no real sense of novelty in either concept or execution. Even Sam's only tech upgrade of note is taken directly from Black Panther's kit. Like many Marvel Studios directors,
Listen, man, I didn't even think about it like that. They basically just called this movie a recycled Marvel Bits movie. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And listen, it's like there's multiple reasons, right, why it's disappointing. It's disappointing because it comes off as kind of like lazy production, lazy writing. They could have done better than that. It could have done better than that. And the second reason is the new Captain America deserved better. Okay, we've watched this character for multiple years. I watched his TV show. I thought his TV show was absolutely amazing. Honestly, watching his TV show is what got me pumped up so much for him to be Captain America. You get what I'm saying? But following up that TV show of him being Captain America, we get this. It's just a letdown. It's like, I don't know. This movie, I believe I already said it. Listen, I've been talking a lot. But this movie, right? This would have been better off being a TV series than a movie. I'm gonna be honest. It would have came off better as a TV series than a movie. This, like he said, just felt like recycled Marvel parts. It felt like a generic superhero story. They put the U.S. government in there and adamantium, and they're fighting over it. It all felt generic. To a certain extent, it kind of felt like who cares? In the entirety of what Marvel is, right? This felt like a side mission. This felt like a side character thing going on, and it's supposed to be Captain America. Y'all got to do better than that. Y'all listen. And then also the reason I'm here is because of the whole thing about this post will be leading up to the new Avengers and all of that. If this is the type of writing we're going to get, if this is the type of production we're going to get, if this is the type of storytelling that we're going to get, I'm sorry to say it, but it might not matter who they cast or what characters they put in there. The only thing that might be able to save the movie is the fact that it's going to get watched to a certain extent because of how big the IP is, how big Marvel actually is, and how they got to it to this point. But will the movie itself be good? Listen, after watching this movie, I'm sorry to say, but I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope, man.
Before him, Julius Ona doesn't find much footing with the blockbuster material, and that's before we get to the film's frustratingly cloying, can't we all just get along political message, which begs us to remember to see the good in each other while doing relatively little to call out what the inverse actually looks like.
Which is why I want you, Captain America, to help me rebuild the Avengers.
The perspective and power that Brave New World scrounges up is more rooted in the actors' performances than anything on the page, a dynamic well represented by Mackie's performance as Sam Wilson. Befitting a Captain of America, Sam's true power is in his ability to bring out the best in others, and to counsel them when they're at their lowest. It's one of the things that sets Sam's approach apart from Steve Rogers. He's a people person, which isn't a bad place to start for a lowercase l leader. Mackie holds that passion for community at the center of everything that Sam does, and the strong foundation he's built up with the character over the years gives the rest of Brave New World's cast a great sparring partner.
Tell me I don't make your old gear look brand new.
Who's saying that?
Everybody.
Sam's taken young Air Force pilot Joaquin Torres under his wing as a fledgling Falcon, and his mentorship of the exuberant soldier does more to underline Sam's heroism than any missile he downs or bullet he deflects. Mackie and Torres.
Hold on, real quick. Let me say this real quick. Let me ask y'all a question. Would this even be better as a movie for the new Falcon, right? Like, say Marvel came out with a TV show introducing a new Falcon. You know, Sam Wilson, you know, the new Captain America pops up every now and then. But the TV show is mainly about the new Falcon, and then they released this movie for the new Falcon. That's like a great build-up. You get what I'm saying? But for this movie to be a Captain America movie, after everything we've been through with this new Captain America, it just feels like it fell short. It fell short. For everything that Captain America himself, despite who's playing as him or whichever character in the universe, whether it's Sam Wilson or the other, what Captain America is supposed to stand for and symbolize, and the feeling we're supposed to get from watching a Captain America movie, I ain't really get it. I ain't get it. So it's just, and then it's also really quick, so I can tell y'all about the movie standpoint that I got on this. When the supervillain gave himself up, right? Because it was the only way to get the president to turn into the Red Hulk, it felt like the laziest writing on the planet. That's a C-list villain. That's a C-list. As smart as this guy is, as smart as this villain is, the only way to get the president to turn into the Red Hulk was for him to turn himself in. Is that so? This guy is that smart? That's a C-class villain. And listen, I talked about this with my nephew, man. I played some games with him on the channel. He's been on the channel before. We discussed this. He could have just faked the video. He could have faked the news. He could have faked so much about what happened in those closing scenes and not turned himself in. And he could have got away with it. Does that sound logical to y'all, right? One of the smartest people on the planet, right? Instead of turning himself in, he just fakes the news coverage, does it at the right time, plays with his emotions, and gets him to turn. I felt like it was a C-class villain thing to do. You've been going through this all movie long. You said how much you hated being locked up, and you said how smart you are. You're able to look at probabilities like you're Doctor Strange. And this was the only way to get what you wanted, was to turn yourself in.
Have a great big brother little brother dynamic, and even though the new Falcon is mostly just here for a ride along, Danny Ramirez makes a charismatic first impression. Weightier loyalties play out most significantly in how Brave New World deploys Isaiah Bradley, the forgotten Cap who reminds Sam gravely that his horrifying history could repeat itself if he puts too much trust in President Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross and his administration. In a relatively small amount of screen time, Carl Lumbly shines, imbuing Bradley with bravado that becomes heartbreaking vulnerability as he is again scapegoated by political forces, especially during a prison visitation.
Listen, real quick, I agree with him. That's probably the best part of this entire movie was the acting. The acting was great. The way they played them characters was great.
You asked for me. Here I am.
Like in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Bradley proves to be a very strong character with which to ground the story's human stakes. But it's here that Brave New World trips over all the old material lying around. Going into Brave New World, you either watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or you didn't. If you did, Brave New World's handling of Bradley is functionally identical, and so may not land with as much gravity. If you didn't, the movie introduces him in a pretty glib way, making a joke out of his decades-long jail time seconds after he walks on screen. Neither story handles the character with the grace Lumley approaches him, but both are much better for his being a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Thaddeus Ross.
Lumley's performance may be the movie's most powerful, but Harrison Ford's is Brave New World's biggest surprise, though maybe not for the big red reason you might expect. The majority of Thunderbolt Ross's time in the MCU, as played by the late William Hurt, has been spent on the fringes, but Ford brings his Indiana Jones Han Solo charisma to the newly minted politician with ease. And while yes, he does Hulk out eventually, Ford's far more interesting contribution is how fun it is to watch him try not to Hulk out. Whatever reputation the actor has acquired over the years for being grumpy, he takes it here and turns the dial way up. And the question of what's finally going to push him over the edge, and when, results in Brave New World's most reliable thrills.
Come and get me!
Real quick, I gotta do it again. I'm sorry. They said it brought the thrills when he turned into the Red Hulk. Let's just summarize it like that. Okay. With the ads, hold on. Here's the thing. Here's how I feel about the Red Hulk. We knew he was part of the villain storyline, so I feel like that kind of ruined it. Could you imagine going into this movie not knowing that the Red Hulk was going to be a part of it at all? Can you imagine how that would have made people feel? Guys, I'm just being honest as a Marvel fan. If we were going into and the thing about this is what we killed the Batman versus Superman so much for, is that in all the commercials, they revealed the entire plot. Guys, I knew what was going to happen in this movie before I watched it. I still went in saying maybe. I still went in being hopeful because I love Marvel. I still went in with all these good thoughts and hopes and dreams and all of that, and all of it, the movie let me down. It let me down. They got commercials for fast food chains showing the Red Hulk throwing tables and stuff. It was the exact same in the movie. It killed the movie. I felt like I seen the last 20 minutes of the movie just because I've seen the advertisements from commercials. Guys, if we killed Batman versus Superman for this, what do we have to say about Captain America Brave New World? I gotta let y'all breathe for a moment. Because I'm so for real. Listen. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video and you've made it to this point, you like Marvel videos and you like Marvel movies and stuff. But you probably ain't seen emotion like this. There's emotion like this because we have the X-Men now, okay? We have the X-Men. We have mutants. It's like the opportunities and greatness for us to see the superheroes we've always wanted to see on big action, right? And this is where I'm taking this. What we've always wanted to see, when we get the chance to see it, it might just be plain right awful. Does that not scare your heart? Because it scares mine. This is what's supposed to lead us into the next phase. This is supposed to be one of the big pillars in the Marvel universe. This is what we've seen on the screen. I haven't even got to the fact that I feel like the Red Hulk's power level is so much above this new Captain America. He's just a regular guy. Now I get the character development and who this new character Captain America is supposed to be, all of that, right? I get it. But for the sake of the lore and Marvel and having an interesting movie, can someone please get him some super serum? He was fighting the Red Hulk and the entire time. I didn't think he stood a chance. And I was proud of them for the way they displayed the Hulk. I've been waiting to see a Hulk for forever. Okay, there was a part where he threw like a rock or a tree, right? And Captain America blocks it. As soon as he puts down the shield, the Hulk is right there. That's the Hulk's power level. The Hulk is really like that. But to the point of what I'm saying is, it's a normal guy with a jetpack and a shield versus the Red Hulk. Okay, and here's another one of the things in the movie where you get a chance to do something interesting, because I didn't know how he would defeat the Red Hulk. This was what do they say, a big obstacle. This could have been a big turning point in how we see this Captain America. If he could have pulled off something heroic, if y'all could have wrote something where, you know, he faces this giant adversary. First movie, you're going to fight a Hulk one-on-one, and you win. If they could have found a good way to do that, but no, not a good way to do that. Instead, you know what he does? He gives him a good pep talk. He gives him a good pep talk after getting beat up the entire fight. The entire fight he was running. Oh yeah, did I mention the fact that they showed this entire fight on commercials and in a trailer? I don't even listen. At this point, bro, I didn't got serious. I feel like I done yelled a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm ready to rage quit. I'm ready to rage quit this movie review, because in the totality of this movie, what was it? It felt like a waste of time to me. I felt like I wasted my time. I felt like it was a C-list writing, C-list production, C-list superheroes, C-list villains. The only thing that was good about this movie was the acting. It was the only thing good about this movie. Listen, hold on. Let me take a moment. Let me take a moment, because I am really raging out. I am really a Marvel enthusiast. I really identify as a nerd. Listen, I really like Iron Man and Black Widow and Thor. I really mess with it. And then on a movie, and then in a movie, the supervillain just gives himself up. He gives himself up, and then his plan, one of the smartest people in the entire movie, maybe the entire world, possibly galaxy, because of the lore of the movie, the way his plan fails is because the good guy gives the bad guy a good pep talk, a good heart-to-heart, a good, put it there, sport. Okay, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Listen, I'm sitting here laughing because at this point, y'all should know how I feel about the movie. I do think Marvel does some things good still. But I feel like overall, like their movies and TV shows at this point is hit and miss. 50%. Straight down the middle. Either it's good or it's horrible. And that's how I feel like it goes. We got about 3 minutes left of this review. So let's get to the rest of this IGN review, so I can see how he grades this movie, and then I'm gonna give my grade on his same grading scale, man.
This is no glorified cameo. Harrison Ford is all over this thing. Ross takes center stage in the film's opening moments, winning the presidency on a Unity platform powered in part by the ongoing geopolitical crisis caused by the emergence of the celestial Tiamat in international waters. That mammoth corpse is chock full of resources that the world's governments are licking their lips over. But after some of those resources are targeted by mercenaries, Ross seems intent on brokering a diplomatic solution. That's enough for Ross and Sam to put their tumultuous past aside in the name of progress. Mackie and Ford do well, maintaining a strong sense of tension just under the surface of Sam and Ross's interactions, a mingling of their crackling on-screen personas that Brave New World gets a lot of its best moments from, even and especially as the plot escalates into a series of skirmishes between opposing factions without much definition. Giancarlo Esposito's Sidewinder barely registers, which is no small feat when you're casting the man that played Gus Fring. President Ross's security...
Listen, I love that actor, but real quick, I'd rather not even have him in the movie, okay? Focus on the plot more somehow. Just have a random mercenary group attacking him at this point. Focus on the plot. Come on, man.
Security advisor Ruth Botsaroff serves as a go-between between he and Cap, but outside of one brief fight sequence, which isn't all that impressive to begin with, Shira Haas is pushed largely into a functionary role here with very little to contribute. As for Tim Blake Nelson's Samuel Stearns, Bruce Banner's former ally hints at much stronger, more personal detours Brave New World could have made. But his relation to the conflict has an air of the tail wagging the dog, and his gamma-powered perception of probability doesn't ever bear enough fruit to pose a recognizable threat. That said, there is some infectious joy to be had as Nelson moves Stearns into more leader-like territory on the strength of his detached, steely monologuing and a pretty excellent prosthetic design. His bulging green noggin looks like what happens in Invader Zim when Zim gets hit in the head and one of his fake eyes pops out. It's good, and more villains should have gross green heads. Captain America: Brave New World feels neither brave nor all that new. Recycling the Winter Soldier's political thriller structure and even specific plot points is no way to set Sam Wilson apart from Steve Rogers on the big screen, but the actors are here to save the day. Anthony Mackie's Cap may finally be the undisputed Star-Spangled Man with a plan, but that chip on his shoulder isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And Mackie brings each side of Sam's personality to life well against seasoned scene partners like Harrison Ford, Carl Lumbly, and Tim Blake Nelson. It's just enough to get Captain America: Brave New World a 5.
I don't know, man. I had to kind of think about it, but a 5? That gotta be like a 5 out of 10, man, because they gave it, what, mediocre? I think it was very, very mediocre, too. And I ain't even gonna lie. I feel like the verdict of a 5, I feel like that's a good verdict if you're not someone like me. If you're not someone who's like really into movies and also at the same time really into Marvel. Cause for me, 5 just based off of like, take all the extra out of it. 5 mediocre. It's like, yo, it's alright. That's what they just say, like, yo, it's alright. I mean, if you didn't watch Captain America: Brave New World, did you miss something? Nah, you know, it's alright, you know, it's alright. But as far as a Marvel fan and a movie fan, I'm giving it like a 2. A 2 out of 10. I feel like it was a waste of time. I feel like for this to be leading up to whatever Marvel wants it to lead up to, it was a big disappointment. It's just, I can't, I'm gonna end up saying the same stuff again. C-class villain. The only way for me to get what I want is for me to turn myself in. The villain's plan is literally for him to go to jail. And then his plan loses because the good guy gives the bad guy a good pep talk. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make listen, I'm finna lower it from a 2 or a 1, from a 1 to a 0. This should have been a TV show. Marvel, come on. Listen, I'm out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. We out.